Hello everyone, my name is Aman Kumar Singh. Today we will study about the thermodynamics. What is thermodynamics? Thermodynamics is a branch of science which deals with the energy and its transformation. Thermodynamics is a branch of science which deals with energy and its transformation. Here energy can be in the form of heat and can be in the form of work. Suppose when a system goes from one state to another state, then how much heat and work interaction take place between the system and surrounding. This is told by the thermodynamics. So this is the basic about the thermodynamics. Now we will understand about the system, surrounding, universe and boundary. What is system? System is a region outside the surround. System is a region on which our study is focused. And what is surrounding? Surrounding is a region which lies outside system. Outside the system. And what is third is boundary. Boundary is the line which separates system and surrounding. This line can be imaginary or can be real. And fourth one is universe. What is universe? Universe is the combination of system and surrounding. So this is the all about the system, surrounding, boundary and universe. Now we will take one example to understand the system, surrounding and universe. For example, this is a rectangle and in which there is one circle. This region inside this circle is known as system, and this circumference which separate the system and surrounding is called as boundary. And this rectangle is universe. And region outside this circle is known as surrounding. So this is the difference between system, surrounding and boundary. Next topic is thermodynamic system. There are three types of thermodynamic system. First one is open system, second is closed system, and third one is isolated system. Open system, closed system, third is isolated system. And what is open system? In open system, heat as well as matter will transfer from surrounding to system. and in closed system only heat will transfer from system to surrounding or from surrounding to system, not matter. And in closed isolated system, nor heat nor matter transfer from system to surrounding. So this is the difference between the open system, closed system and isolated system. And what are the examples of open system? First is the human body, and second is reactants in open vessel. An example of closed system is pressure cooker and piston cylinder assembly. An example of isolated system is thermoflask. Sorry. So these are the examples of open system, closed system, isolated system. Next our topic is thermodynamic properties. What is thermodynamic properties? Thermodynamic properties are the properties which are used to define the state of the system. And there are two types of thermodynamic properties. First one is extensive and second one is intensive. And extensive properties are those properties which are depend from the mass of the system. So it depends on mass and they are independent of mass. And examples of extensive properties are volume, enthalpy, entropy, internal energy, Gibbs free energy, so all type of energies are the extensive properties. And what are the intensive properties? Suppose temperature, pressure, specific enthalpy, specific entropy. Suppose next is viscosity, thermal conductivity, surface tension. So these are the examples of extensive property and intensive properties. Next we will see that thermodynamics laws. First is zeroth law. What is zeroth law of thermodynamics? Zeroth law of thermodynamics says that when two bodies are in thermal equilibrium, then we can say that the A and B bodies are in thermal equilibrium with the body C. For example, A and B are in thermal equilibrium with the body C. Then we can say that body A and B will also be in a thermal equilibrium. So this is the statement of zeroth law of thermodynamics. Next is the first law of thermodynamics. First law of thermodynamics tells us that energy can neither be created nor be destroyed, but it can be converted from one form to another form. So this is the statement of first law of thermodynamics. This is also called as the law of conservation of energy, or we can say that total energy of isolated system remains constant. So this is the another statement of first law of thermodynamics. This is the mathematical relationship between the of the first law of thermodynamics. So this is the heat interaction term, this is the work interaction term, and this is the change in internal energy. This is the mathematical expression. So for cyclic process, net heat interaction becomes equal to the work interaction. This is for cyclic process. For cyclic process, change in internal energy, this term will become zero because initial and final state of the system remains constant. So this is the cyclic process. Because here initial and final state are same, so that's why this process is called cyclic process. So this is all about the first law of thermodynamics. Next, we will see the internal energy. What is internal energy? Internal energy is denoted by capital U, and this is state function. And this is extensive property. Internal energy is the sum of kinetic energy, vibrational energy, and rotational energy. Of gas molecules. So internal energy is the sum of all the microscopic form of energy. Suppose kinetic energy, vibration energy, and rotational energy of the gas molecules. And this is the formula which is used to calculate the change in internal energy. So we cannot measure the internal energy, but we can measure the change in internal energy. And so because it is a microscopic form of energy. And unit of internal energy is joule. This is the SI unit of internal energy, and N is the number of moles, and C is the specific heat at constant volume, and delta T is change in temperature. So this is all about the internal energy. And also one more thing, change in internal energy is zero for cycling process. because internal energy is state function. Next, we will see the enthalpy. It is denoted by capital H, and this is also an extensive property. And this is also a state function. Similar to the internal energy, we cannot measure the enthalpy because it is a microscopic form of energy. This is a microscopic we cannot measure enthalpy. So what is enthalpy? Enthalpy is the total heat content of system at constant temperature and at pressure is called enthalpy. It represents the heat content of the system. If enthalpy is mole, then we can say that heat content of the system is mole. So this is all about the enthalpy. Now this is the relationship between the enthalpy and internal energy. So if we take change of internal energy, P delta E plus V delta T, and pressure is constant, so that's why this term is neglected. And by using first law of thermodynamics, we can say that change in enthalpy becomes equal to the heat given to the system, which is equal to the NCP delta T. Here N is the number of moles, of gas, and Cp is the specific heat at constant pressure, and delta T is change in temperature. And this is change in temperature. So this is all about the enthalpy. Now our next topic is thermodynamic processes. So there are four types of thermodynamic process. First one is isobaric. Second one is isothermal. Third one is isobaric process. And fourth one is adiabatic process. So there are four types of thermodynamic process: isobaric, isothermal, isobaric, and adiabatic. First, we will see the isobaric process. So what is isobaric process? Isobaric process is the process in which pressure of the system remains constant. Here pressure is constant. And if we apply the first law of thermodynamics, delta is del Q plus del W. Here we are using del sign because we know that heat and work are the path function and U is state function. So this is the formula which is used to calculate the work done. Limit is V1 to V2. We know that pressure is constant here, so that's why we taken this outside this integral. So this is the formula of work done in case of isobaric process. We know that S is equal to PV pressure is constant here, so that's why delta S is equal to Q, which is equals to N Cp delta T. So this is the formula for enthalpy change for isobaric process. Now we will see the one example of isobaric process. For example, this is a beaker and this is the piston on which mass M is placed. This is the mass placed on the piston and gas is filled in this system. And now we will heat the gas by using burner. So change in enthalpy of the gas becomes equal to the heat given to the system. And what is pressure here? Pressure is normal force upon area. And what is the force applied on the gas? Which is equal to mg upon A. A is the area of cross section of this piston and m is the mass placed on this piston. So this is all about the isobaric process. And one more thing is remaining, graphs. If you draw the PV diagram for isobaric process, then it will look like that. 1 to 2 is for the heating and 2 to 1 is for the cooling. If we heat the gas, then what happens? Piston will go in the upward direction. So that's why volume of this system will increases. And if we cool the gas, then what happens? Pressure of the gas will decrease. And pressure is constant and volume of the system will decreases. This is the this is the PV. So VP diagram is straight line. So this is all about the isobaric process. Next we will see the isobaric process. What is isobaric process? Isobaric process is the process in which volume of the system remains constant. For example, this is a piston and here we apply the stopper here. So due to this, volume is fixed here. So we apply the stopper, so due to this reason volume of the system remains constant. So due to this, there is no movement of the piston. So change in volume is 0 here. If we apply here the formula of work done, then what happens? Work done comes in this process will become 0. So if we apply the first law of thermodynamics, then what happens? This term is 0 and change in internal energy becomes equal to the NCV delta T. Here apply in burner. So here change in internal energy of the gas becomes equal to the heat given to the gas, which is equal to NCV delta T. Where N is the number of moles of gas, CV is specific heat at constant volume, and delta T is change in temperature of the gas. So this is all about the isobaric process. Graph is remaining. So this is the VT diagram. 1 to 2 is for heating and 2 to 1 is for the cooling. So if we heat the gas, then what happens? Temperature of the gas will increases and volume of the gas will remains fixed. So this is the VT diagram and this is the PV diagram. One to two is for heating. If we heat the gas, then what happens? Pressure of the gas will increase at constant volume, and 2 to 1 is for the cooling. So this is all about the isobaric process. Our next process is isothermal process. Isothermal process is the process in which temperature of the system remains constant. So if we apply the first law of thermodynamics, then we know that change internal energy depends on only on the temperature in case of ideal gas. So that's why this term will become 0. And then heat interaction between system and surrounding becomes equal to the work interaction. So what is work done here? So we know that for ideal gas pressure is equal to nRT upon V. So we put there, then after integrating we will get so we know that here P1 upon P2 equal to V2 upon V1 because PV equal to constant here. So due to this reason P1 upon P2 equal to V2 by V1. Pressure is must be proportional to volume. So if we draw the graph between the pressure and volume, then it becomes hyperbolic graph. And this is the VT diagram, VT graph for the isothermal process. So this is all about the isothermal process. Then our now next topic is adiabatic process. Adiabatic process is the process in which no heat exchange takes place between the system and surrounding. Suppose gas is filled in this container and the walls are the adiabatic here. So due to this reason, no heat exchange takes place between the system and surrounding. So this term will become 0. And if we apply the first law of thermodynamics here, then this term is 0 and change in internal energy equal to CVdT equal to PdV and pressure is equal to N RT upon V. Suppose here N is 1 mole. We put the value of pressure in this expression, then we will get Cv upon R dt equal to T dV by V. So we know that the Maer's formula Cp minus Cv equal to R. So if we divide this expression by Cv, then we will get Cp by Cv minus 1 equal to R by Cv. So we put this value of R upon Cv in this expression, then we will get dt upon gamma minus 1 dt upon T dV by V. So now we will integrate this from V1 to V2 and T1 to T2. So after integrating, we will get ln T2 by T1 equals to gamma minus 1 ln V2 by V1. So by this exponential rule, so we will get, this is the relationship between the temperature and volume in case of adiabatic process. PV gamma is equals to constant. So this is the another relationship between the pressure and volume. So what is gamma here? Gamma is the ratio of specific heat. Cp is the specific heat at constant pressure and Cv is the heat capacity at constant volume. So gamma is the ratio. Next, we will see the how to calculate the work done in case of adiabatic process. Work done. Work done in adiabatic process. So this is the formula. We know that for work done and PV gamma is equal to constant. This is the relationship between the pressure and volume for adiabatic process. So pressure is equal to C V to the power minus gamma. So we now here put the value of pressure in this expression. Then we will get, so C is the constant, so that's why we taken this outside. So after integrating we will get after putting this limit, then we will get V to the power 1 minus gamma minus V1 to the power 1 minus gamma. So we know that C is the PV, gamma is equal to constant. So after this, we will get work done equal to P2 V2 minus P1 V1 upon gamma minus 1, or we can say that NR this is the formula to calculate the work done in case of adiabatic process. So this is we will get this expression by putting the ideal gas equation T is equal to nRT. So when the system is goes from one state to two state, then this is the formula to calculate the work done. So our next topic is limitation of first law of thermodynamics. So there are two limitations of first law of thermodynamics. First limitation is this does not give the direction transfer of heat, and second limitation is it fails to explain why heat unfully converted into. So there are two limitations of first law of thermodynamics. First limitation is it does not give the direction of transfer of heat, in which direction heat transfer will take place. And second limitation is it fails to explain why heat cannot be fully converted into the work. So these are the two limitations. And now our next topic is second law of thermodynamics. Second law of thermodynamics consists of two statements. First is Kelvin-Planck it says that it is impossible to construct a device which can transfer which can so Kelvin-Planck statement says that it is impossible to construct a device which can fully convert the heat into work. And second statement is Clausius statement. It says that it is impossible to construct a device which can transfer heat from low temperature to high temperature required. Without doing any external work. So this is the Clausius statement. It tells us that it is impossible to construct a device which can transfer the heat from low temperature reservoir to high temperature reservoir without doing any external work on the engine. So this is second law of thermodynamics. Next our topic is entropy. Entropy is denoted by capital S and this is state function. And this is extensive property. Entropy is state function because it depends on the initial and final state of the system, and this is extensive property because it depends on the mass only. So what is entropy? Entropy is degree of randomness or disorderness of gas molecules. So this is the definition of entropy, and we know that entropy of gas is higher than liquid and solid because the randomness of molecule is higher in case of gas than liquid and solid. And this is the formula which is used to calculate the entropy change. Change in heat transfer upon temperature in case of reversible process. And for an irreversible process, change in entropy becomes equal to the del Q by T for reversible process plus entropy generation. Entropy generation is path function. It is a property which determines the degree of irreversibility in the system, and entropy generation is always positive. So suppose there are two paths. First one is irreversible and this path is A to B is reversible and B to A is irreversible. And for entropy change for reversible process becomes equal to the irreversible process because entropy is a state function. It depends only on this final initial and final state values. So this is all about the entropy. Now our next topic is how to calculate the entropy change for ideal gas. We know that relationship between the enthalpy and internal energy is delta U plus PdV plus VdP after taking derivative. So this value is equal to the Q plus VdP, and we know that Q equal to the TdS term for reversible adiabatic process. So change in enthalpy becomes TdS plus VdP. So we know that change in enthalpy equal to Cp dt Tds equal to Cp delta T minus V delta T. So delta is equal to Cp by T dt minus V dP upon T. Here comes d side. So if we integrate this equation from T1 to T2, here we will replace this d by t by, suppose Pv is equal to RT, then we know that d by t here R upon T. And we will calculate the entropy change here. Suppose if we integrate this equation from T1 to T2, and suppose Cp is constant, so we will remove this from integral sign. Then we will get Cp ln T2 by T1 minus ln R ln P2 by P1. So this is the formula which is used to calculate the entropy change for ideal gas. So if we put here Cp is equal to Cv minus Cv is equal to R here, then we will get another formula. This is the another formula which is used to calculate the entropy change, which is Cv ln delta is equal to Cv ln T2 by T1 plus R ln V2 by V1. So this is all about the entropy change for ideal gas. Next topic is how to calculate the entropy change for phase change. This is the formula which is used to calculate the entropy change for phase change. Here lambda is latent heat of phase change, and T set is saturation temperature. T set is the temperature at which phase change occurs. So lambda is positive for melting and vaporization. So when substance converted from solid to liquid or from liquid to gas, then in this case entropy change is positive, because lambda is positive for melting and vaporization, and lambda is negative for condensation. When vapor condenses, then in this case lambda is negative, so that's why entropy change is negative. Now we will take one example how to calculate the entropy change for phase change. Suppose 0 degree Celsius ice converted into the 100 degree Celsius water vapor. Then in this process phase change occurs. Then how to calculate the entropy change? Here entropy change equal to the lambda 1 by T1. Solid ice converted into the first liquid. So that's why phase change take place. plus lambda 2 upon T2. Here T1 is the 0 degree Celsius. So that is the, and lambda 1 is the latent heat of fusion, and N should be ln 373 by 273, which is 100 equal to 100 degree Celsius, plus lambda T. Lambda 2 is the latent heat of vaporization, and lambda 1 is the latent heat of phase fusion, and m is the mass of ice, and Cp is the specific heat of water. So this is the entropy change for conversion of 0 degree Celsius ice into 100 degree Celsius water vapor. Our next topic is Clausius inequality. What is Clausius inequality? Clausius inequality provides the relationship between the cyclic integral of del Q by T. This is equal to 0 for reversible process. And cyclic integral of del Q by T, which is equal to which is less than 0 for irreversible process. And del Q by T, cyclic integral of del Q by T becomes more than 0, which is impossible. So this is the Clausius inequality for reversible process, irreversible process, and impossible process. And now our next topic is entropy change for isothermal mixing of gases. Entropy change for isothermal mixing of gases. Suppose there are two containers in which n1 number of moles is filled, and volume of this container is V1 and volume of this container is V2, and in this container n2 number of moles of gas is filled. Suppose this partition is broken, then what happens? Mixing of gases will take place, and here we will assume that temperature is constant. So what happens? So entropy change comes out to be sigma minus nr. This is the formula which is used to calculate the entropy change for isothermal mixing of gases. And what is here? Xi. Xi is the ratio of number of moles of individual gases and total number of gases. X1 is here n1 by n1 plus n2, and x2 is the n2 upon n1 plus n2, which is simply known as the mole fraction. So this is all about the entropy change for isothermal mixing of gases. And here unit of this value is joule, and this is the total number of gases, and R is the universal gas constant, and Nt is the total number of gas, which is n1 plus n2. Now our next topic is Clausius-Clapeyron equation. Clausius-Clapeyron equation provides the relationship between the vapor pressure and the temperature at which phase change take place. And what are the assumption of this equation? First assumption is volume occupied by gas molecule is negligible. And second assumption is gas must follow ideal gas equation. Then how to derive the Clausius-Clapeyron equation? First, we know that H is equal to PV, and we have already derived the formula of delta T equal to delta H equal to TdS plus VdP. Then after this, we know that phase change takes place at a constant pressure and temperature. So that's why this term will become 0. And delta S becomes equal to the TdS. Now we know that change in Gibbs free energy becomes equal to VdP minus SdT. Then by using Maxwell equation, del V by del T at constant pressure becomes equal to del S by del P at constant temperature. And del S becomes equal to del V by del T into dP. Then put this value here. Put this value of delta S in this expression, then we will get this is minus delta H upon T delta V equal to dP by dt. After simplification, we will get this expression. And delta V is here, Vg minus VL. On further solving this, we will get here Vg is very higher than the VL, because volume occupied by the gas molecule is very higher compared to the volume occupied by the liquid molecule. So we neglect that, then we will get Vg equal to dP by dt. So if we apply the ideal gas equation, V equal to RT upon P. So now we will get RT upon P equal to dP by dt. Delta T upon RT square now we will integrate this equation from T1 to T2 and T1 to T2. Then we will get this is the final expression of the Clausius-Clapeyron equation, and here R is the universal gas constant and delta H is the change in enthalpy at phase change, and P2 and P1 are the saturation pressure, and T1 and T2 are the temperature at which phase change take place. So this is the derivation of Clausius-Clapeyron equation. Thank you.